one time.
What's up? Salute. We here now.
Man.
We here now.
Yes, this is the Next Conversation series, the second for 2018. And today, June 15th, 2018, we are having a conversation with Richard Dulphin. I'm thinking about your Instagram bio, what you got written there, and I can't even remember all of it. It's a lot, because he does a lot. Now, he knows this. Some of you might know it too, because you probably asked the same question. I have asked them religiously for the last, 7-8 years.
Ain't the only one.
When is the project coming out? I don't know if you remember this. You might. So 1 year, I can't remember the year. Whatever year Wale dropped The Gifted, that was probably the year. Now the reason why I mentioned that because we were playing tracks in your car because we had a show in Connecticut. We were driving up there, so that happened to be a song that he played in the car ride. That's the only song from another artist that we played in the car ride. Because on the way, and then how long is that trip? Like an hour and a half? Yeah. He played about 30 records, bro. Now, mind you, I've been asking him, where's the project? Yeah, I'm gonna spill the beans. I'm hearing records I'm hearing records he got with Chris that y'all may never hear. I'm hearing records he got with Selah and Seda that you may never hear. I'm hearing 3 versions of the same song, and I can't even think of which one's the best version that you may never hear. And I'm there like,
when's the next album?
Nah, not when the next album. When are you dropping these 5 albums that we just listened to in the car ride? And he's just like breaking it down like, yo man, Chris didn't think this was mixed properly. This, I don't know. This, we didn't finish. And I'm there like, all I'm hearing is bangers. I don't underestimate that. I'm hearing Chris singing on the hook for the first. Like I didn't even know Chris was singing. Like that's how much music I was hearing. So it just blew my mind that the world wasn't getting to hear it. But I guess I say all that to say, because I could go on and on for that. I guess the proper first question is, why did it take so long?
Allow me to take the time to express a couple things on my mind, because I've been cooking in the lab for a while, and revolution music was way over their head. I thought, should I regress? Now take it further instead and take it where it need to be taken, because there's a generation dying, and yo, all they trying to do is entertain them, so instead I'm mumbling on the mic about nothing. I'd rather speak truth and feed the people some substance, but that's a lesson learned that ain't come easy. I had so much to say, but like God wasn't releasing me. I'm in the studio trying to make heat, but he was more interested in trying to make me into the man of God that he called me to be. But I'm so blinded by my passion for music I couldn't see, even neglected my call to preach, because I'm chasing after my own fantasies over what he had planned for me. And they say pride comes before the fall, but only time you find you in pride is after you fall. I recall crying, Lord, give me songs of deliverance, and in return God escorted me to the wilderness. My time in my spiritual desert, it wasn't pleasant, but it was part of the process in order to be perfected, and I will never forget it, nor will I regret it. But now that it's my time, I'm ready to set it. So when they hear these records, don't tell me that I'm nice, cause see, my sole focus is showing forth the Christ on this album. I'm just gonna bear my life, cause every bar that I write, and yo, I'm straight bearing my soul on a mic. I'm on my Eldritch Cleaver, my soul on ice, to minister to lost souls at the crossroads of life. This ain't hype, I earn my stripes, and the music's a byproduct of blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifice. The good life.
I just want to say that's the first time I've ever asked a question of an artist.
You gonna get the smoke, man. Straight up, yo.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for coming out. This interview is over.
Faith without works is dead. Y'all gonna get all the smoke, meth and red. You know what I'm saying? Everything. Let's get it. Let's get it. Nah.
But no, that's really perfectly said. In a way, I knew the answer to that question. I felt like, because I've seen it. Like, it's not like I don't see what you do. But I think, for those who don't have the pleasure of being around you a lot, who are not in this room, who may be introducing you, or maybe being introduced to you for the first time, but know of you, they needed that answer. Because you're right. Let's talk about the thing you said that a couple of bars back when you talked about your calling to preach, right? I remember going to Evie's church. I remember Evie invited me because, you know, she was running the youth service there among some other people, and you were the, you know, the speaker of the night, the person giving the sermon, and I never heard you preach before. And I have to tell you that there were things that you said that night that still resonate with me to this day. Like, it was super, super, super powerful. Like, probably one of the best sermons I've ever heard. I'm not gassing you, I'm telling you, like, flat out, because it just, you know, some people, here's the thing about, I have a problem with sometimes church culture and preachers. Like, some people just preach. They know how to charismatically say a couple of things. It's like almost like rappers sometimes, but they're not really saying anything. It's like, my God.
So we got mumble preachers?
Yeah, swag sermons. This is gonna be one of those times.
Let them know.
If I do a rap called Swag Sermons, will you jump on? Because that might be a song.
I'm having fun, man.
Oh my God! But no, it was a lot of swagger. But it wasn't just a swag sermon. It was purposeful, and I never got a chance to hear you and hear God use you in that way. I mean, the whole night was magical. You had proof on the keys, doing all kinds of CCM, and the whole night was just great. And then it just, you know, crescendoed up to you, and God used you. Like, so let's talk about that. Like, what is that for you, as far as that call?
I knew I was called because even when I accepted the Lord, almost instantly I just wanted to know as much about the Lord as possible.
Right.
I mean, it was to the point of like straight up, you know, fanatic mode. Like I was,
Really?
I got saved in my college dorm. You know what I mean? So I was never in church. So I think it kind of like goes with my church without walls mentality. You know, so I was saved in my college dorm, and I just, when I was having like Bible studies, you know, at my college dorms, I wanted to know everything there was about God. Like, it was like to the point where I would go to a Barnes and Nobles or go to a Christian bookstore and drop $500 just on books.
Right.
Like, I've done that. You know what I mean?
What's the most important book you've ever got?
Macy's book, my testimony.
Really?
Because that's what segued me into reading the Bible. That was the blueprint before I even got there. You know what I mean? That was the...
And that's interesting because we all know Mason's trajectory.
Yeah.
Some may argue that, you know, maybe he jumped into faith so fast, or maybe he wasn't really about it, but it's amazing how God could use that.
That's what got me in.
That's what was you in there.
That's what got me in. And,
So,
and
yeah,
seeing him preach is where sitting in a church, watching him in a pulpit full of the elders, you know, who really look like elders, the way you were looking at him, that's how people gonna be looking at you about it. It went to the point where I was about to drop out of school because I was in these classes like, yo, what I'm in this economics for? I need to know what the Old Testament's all about. It's all about this tabernacle, man. What's a seraphim? You telling me, you know what I mean? This is where I'm wilding. Like, you know, I was about to drop out of school. I need to go to some Bible college. You know what I'm saying? Forget my credits. I just need to know everything there was about God because it was that serious to me. I had that hunger, you know, just to want to know more. And then the more knowledge I had, the more I wanted to tell people about it. So I was in my college campus like, yo, what up? Yo, put the blood down. I got something for you. Come here. You want to go? You want to be high? I got high for you. You know what I'm saying? I was talking to everybody, you know, witnessing about the Lord. Everybody used to call me preacher, preacher, preacher. When I started going to church, literally, almost, they was like, listen, every time I spoke, they would say, listen, you know, the call of God is on you to speak. You know, God has called you and anointed you to speak. I didn't know what an anointing was.
Right.
You know, because I wasn't
cool.
Yeah, all right, you know, but I didn't understand that because I wasn't brought up in church culture.
Right.
You know, so, I mean, through being cultivated in that call to ministry, and even though I know I was called to ministry, I know God called me to preach,
right.
But I still didn't want to because I didn't like church. I grew up, I didn't like church, and I didn't like preachers. I didn't trust preachers. Even though I understood, I wanted to tell people about God, but I didn't want to necessarily be a preacher. So even though God was using me in that vein, even when I did preach, God was using me and I was ordained a minister, right? I spent years preaching, being used by God and everything.
Right.
But I didn't want to. I just preached because I couldn't tell my pastor no. You know, I couldn't tell my pastor no, but I would do it. God would use me, but I didn't like.
Because you said something very important. It really affected me because I've noticed myself, with the exception of a couple, that my trust of certain pastors or leadership is is troubling sometimes for me because of things I went through in my life. What was your apprehension when it came to like, trusting passion?
I just didn't, because growing up and getting from a secular perspective, because I wasn't born and raised in a born again Christian house. You know what I mean, per se. Because I had I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But I'm a byproduct of my grandmother's prayer. But it was just because I just growing up in church, I just never connected to church, never connected with preachers. So I always thought they was whack, always thought they was corny, so I didn't believe in them. So to be one is to be whack and be corny. So I never wanted to do that in my mind, you know? Right. So through preaching, so even though I had spent all these years, I was preaching, God was using me, you know, altar calls and everything like that. I didn't want to. What I wanted to do was rap. Because rap is in my blood. I love rapping. Right. But what I did, I made an idol out of my gift.
The fact that you said that you made an idol out of your gift, the outside person, at least for me, couldn't tell. Because you seemed, even with your gift, the thing that I thought, that I've always admired about you is that I feel like you did everything not just for the sake of doing it. Like, if you were rapping for a reason. There was an intentionality. Even on a socially conscious realm, which we'll get to. But when was that moment where it was like, all right, I need to do less of the mic and more of the pulpit?
I think it was 23 or 13 before New Year's. I mean, I've heard for years, you know, God's gonna take you another level, like, you know, through the prophetic word, like God's gonna take you to another level with your preaching. And I was just like, and all this time I'm struggling with my music. Like when you got up there and when you see me perform, I'm giving my all out because I'm sold out to the gift and I'm sold out to the call of God, and I want to be used by God. But when your concern is being used by God more than actually being connected to God and cultivating your relationship with God, you slightly missed it and twisted and kind of like, you know what I mean? You pervert, you kind of like went left even though you're going right. When I just want to be used,
right.
You know what I mean? When I'm all about being used for your glory, but when I'm just want to be used for your glory, but I'm not spending time with you, I'm not praying with you, but I just want to be used for your glory. Yeah. So I got good intentions, but I'm off. You know what I mean? I'm off. And oftentimes we can't tell because we're so caught up in being used for His glory. Right. You know, and then even though you are being used for your glory, but just because you're being used for His glory, that don't mean that
it's only a piece of it.
Yeah, just because you're being used for His glory, that doesn't mean you're in right standing or relationship with God.
Because God can use anybody.
You know what I'm saying? I don't mean you don't mean you got a relationship. You know, I did have a relationship with God, but I was so caught up in being used by God and walking in the vision that He showed me and walking in my purpose. It was all my purpose. Your purpose can't supersede or you can't overlook your relationship and your connection with Him. Because I could be all about my purpose, but if I ain't connected, what you got? You know what I mean? And then all throughout that time, I'm trying to make music. I'm over here trying. I can't tell you how many songs I lost. I can't tell you how many.
I can.
I'm sure you could. You know, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do this. And it's always like a wall, nonstop, a wall. This obstacle, can't do this, can't do that. I don't have this. I don't have backing. I don't have finances. I can't do. All the time, this revolving door for years. To the point where I'm like, yo, what's going on? Right. And it was only to that time, 2013, I was like, you know what? Where I was getting called for preaching gigs. And then I was dubbing the preaching gigs. I would say, yo, I can't do that. Or I'm not even answering certain preachers' call. That a person that invited me to preach because I don't want to preach. I want to rap. You know what I mean? So when it got to the point, when it got to that point where I'm getting all these preaching gigs, I don't want no preaching gigs. Or what's up with these bars, yo? I'm saying
I can totally relate because I feel the same way about me just doing journalism, honestly. We talk about it in the car. It's like you tell me, you know, Jason, like you're a great writer. You're great at this media thing in addition to the rap thing, and I'd be like, man, I just want to get, like you said, I want to get to the bars and just the bars alone. But it's like, right? But then you realize that I think before in that era, you didn't realize how important it is to be multifaceted in the things of God. And now we're in an age where doing more than one thing and operating in every calling that God has given you is what it is. And it's not even about you.
When I had to really stop, when I realized I was turning down preaching engagements because I wanted to rap or I wanted to spend time on rap, I mean, I would spend like so I would go so in when it comes to music, but when it come down to preaching, I just didn't even want to do it. And then it was like God had to wake me up and be like, yo, fam, how you gonna choose how you want to be used? Like it's your gift anyway. How you gonna tell me what you want to do? Like you're in charge. You know, so I had to like really repent and humble. I'm like, yo, if I go hard and I'm all about being sold out to this music, and how can I just neglect this gift over here?
Right.
And it's like it came to the point where I had to be like, you know what, God, I had to repent and I had to surrender. Be like, yo, the same way I go hard with my music, I need to go that much harder with the work. You know, and when I got to that point where I was like really sold out to the gift, when I said, God, I want you to use me now, when I'm really praying because I want to put that same intentionality into the preaching as I would do the music, that's when God started opening doors. Because even throughout that time where I was going through that season in the wilderness where I felt nothing was going on with the music, now working in the community, working with kids, and I was like, why am I here? Why am I here? I don't want to do this, you know. And I was like, it was this kind of like this season of, man, why am I here? I need to be on stage. And I felt like oftentimes it was so hard to even get to music because I was so consumed with my responsibilities working for the kids in the community. And even though I was getting advanced and I was getting elevated, you know, God was opening doors. But still, I'm like, okay, great. I got this promotion. Yeah, I'm a program manager now. And now I'm assistant director. Great. I'm climbing up the ranks. But my heart is on the stage. I want to rap. You know, but it wasn't until the time when I really surrendered and I said, God, I'm going to give you my all. I'm going to give you this gift. You know what I mean? And that's when things started like opening doors for me. Now it started getting clear. And through that time of being sold out to the preaching gift, that's when God started to mold me and shape me and to really make me into the man of God. And then I started realizing, like, God, you're doing the work. You're doing the work in me. And I knew for years, I was like, next time when you come out, listen, you're not coming out as the rapper. You know what I'm saying? You're coming, the rap
coming totally different.
Listen, the rap, you ain't rapping no more. Like, Rich, you stopped rapping a long time ago. You preaching now.
Right.
That's what you're doing. You get
in essence,
sermons on beats. That's what you're doing. That's why when you asked me that question, I got an answer for you. I had a sermon for you. That's the vein that he's using me in. That's where he has me. But those sermons couldn't be able. What he wanted me to say to the people was going to get lost in me trying to be lyrical. Lost in me trying to give you punchlines. Lost in me trying to get like, you know, because you know we know how to rap.
Again, verbal gymnastics. We know how to string metaphors along, alliterations, similes.
I know how to get a reaction out the crowd. Like, ooh, you know, I freestyle. When it comes down to the technical aspect of lyricism, I'm there. I'm a student to the game.
They don't want you in the game.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You know, I know how to think, but it's just like getting to the point where it's not about what you know and being technical, but it's about like, God, what you want me here to do? What you want me to tell the people?
I'm glad you said that because I think like it's easy for a rapper to get caught up in their own self because of the simple fact that, you know, people need the word. It's like for somebody who is not into rap, they just want to hear what you have to say. So let me go back to a little bit. You said something to the effect of working in after school programs. And I have that commonality to you because I do that as well. You know that. And for me, I know that working with kids, teaching them certain skills, professionally, artistically, and you see the growth and maturation in each grade and what these kids need, and also you see the environments they came from. Like I remember dealing with this one kid last week, and the kid straight up told me because he was having disciplinary issues, and I was telling him like, look, that's why we wear these shirts. You have to tell us if somebody's doing you something. We're not just here for, you know, for looks. Like, that's why we're here. And the kid, he's in 4th grade. He told me straight up. He said, "Listen, man, I can't depend on nobody. I gotta take care of myself. I can't look for anybody to solve my problem. I need to take care of myself." That's the reality he comes from. And I feel like doing what we do as educators in this aspect is almost like, at least for me, it's like almost like an extended part of ministry for me. Do you feel the same for yourself?
That's ministry. And anytime people come and have an encounter with me, they come to church. They might never go to a physical tabernacle, but guess what? They're coming to an encounter with a physical tabernacle every day.
What's the encounter for them like? Like, if you can be in their body and like when they encounter you, what do you expect that they're getting from you?
I just try to be relatable. Like, you know what's funny? I find it so hilarious that the fact that everyone knows that I'm a preacher. And some kids walk by, "Hey, what's up, preacher?" And be like, "Oh, you know what I mean?" Or even you would probably say, "Hey, what's up, Kirk?" You know, they have this nickname, call me Kurt Franklin. You know what I'm saying? They call me Kurt. But you know what? I never sat down and witnessed, tell them about the Lord Jesus. I never did that, you know. And it takes me back to this quote that a pastor says. It's like, yo, listen, man, yo, always preach the gospel. Use words only when necessary. Use words only when necessary. But you better preach that gospel. Preach it everywhere you go. Use words only when necessary. That means it's your life speak. They know what it is. You know, they know who I am and what I'm about. Because they know what I say no to. When I'm with senior managers and they'd be like, oh, we need to tell, well, Rich, can you just tell them that, oh, we can't tell him because we know he's a preacher. He's not gonna lie. Get somebody else to do it. And I've never had, you know what I mean, like where I've sitting down and cracked open a Bible way. I don't need to do that. My life is speaking for itself. So when people conform to my environment or they check themselves because I'm around, and I never tell, listen, don't say this around. I never have to say that. Because
conviction is there.
My life speaks for itself. You know, it's him doing it. You know, and the more I show love to people, I'm getting, people know me that I don't know. And people give me a certain respect that I don't know. You know what I mean? You don't have that relation to give them respect. But it's all about showing love to the people.
Right.
You know, period. Just showing love to the people, everybody. Dudes that's on the block, they doing what they doing, but they every time they see me, yo, what's up, man? They give me handshakes. I'm like humble handshakes, like you know more than I know that you know in regards to me. You know what I mean? So it's all about showing love and really showing them the love and the heart of God. That's what we're here for.
Right, and I remember you telling me a while back, I think it was on the set of Revolution Music, that there was this one kid that you had a chance to work with and you were able to lead him into an encounter with Christ. Talk about that.
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to play it off. You see, I'm like, it's real deep. And then I'm like,
or have you had those encounters? I know that encounter was true. You probably don't remember the person right now.
Like which one particularly?
Okay, that's good, dude. That's a great problem to have because, like,
you know what I mean? Because I'm like, which story did you hear, bro?
What's your favorite story?
I mean, I think for me is just the fact that I remember there was one kid that I was working with, and he was a hard head, knucklehead, this, that, and the third, right? And then he came up to me and he was just like, "Yo, I think I found my passion." It's like, "What's your passion?" Like, "I want to get into photography." So I was like, "Okay, you want to get into photography?" So I was like, "Okay, let's look up some cameras." And then lo and behold, Apostle Pagani posted up on Instagram, on Facebook, that he was selling a camera. And then so I mess around and be like, yo, listen, I got somebody that's selling a camera. He got the money. So we met up and we linked up, him and Pastor Pagani. I told him his story. Pastor Pagani prayed for him over the phone. Wow. You know what I mean? With this dude. And then through that, it was like, yo, he came to the Kingdom Choice Awards with me one year. He got press passes and he's over here like taking pictures. You know what I mean? Wow. And he's over here. I got him some bookings, you know what I mean? Where he was actually getting paid off of taking pictures. You know, and it left an impression on him. 2 months later, he's over here taking pictures and filming church services. You know what I mean? Like different things like that. There's like, hold up. You know, but it's all about being a light.
Being available.
It's all about being a light and being available. You know, and wherever your field is, wherever your marketplace is. My marketplace is this block right here. You know what I mean? My marketplace is in the music. Where somebody else's marketplace might be in a corporate office. That's your marketplace.
Right.
That's your ministry. You know what I mean?
And I don't think people recognize that they're in the marketplace literally every day.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
And how they can manipulate that and work that to evangelism and discipleship.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, we always, what's my purpose? What my purpose? Your purpose is to be a witness wherever you're at. That's it. Like, however it is, whatever your lane is, it's to be a witness. However it is, you gotta show God wherever you at.
Right.
Show the life, the love, and the heart of God wherever you're at. That's your ministry. That's your purpose. Because as great as your pastor is, I say this all the time in my church. You know, shout out to my church, Light Change Church and Ministries. I see y'all in the building. You know, shout out to Bishop Joseph Harris. Shameless plug. Yeah.
Shameless.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I say this all the time in my church. It's just like, yo, listen, I don't care how great your pastor, how great T.D. Jakes is, how great this great woman or man of God is. But guess what? Some people ain't never going to your church. But they coming to see you though. Your pastor could say something to them and they're gonna be like, whatever. But they gonna listen to you though.
Right.
You know, they probably might never listen to your pastor, but when Jason say something, it means something because I know where Jason came from.
Right.
You know, so that's like kind of like the distinction. So that's why it's so important that for us to be relevant wherever we at.
And you know, it's funny you say that because it just occurred to me. One of the things I think we take for granted or we kind of like miss the ball on is that for artists, we want to be as famous or have as big of a platform as we possibly can get, not knowing that the platform is right in front of you. Like the kids I encounter, they don't know Lecrae, they'll never meet Lecrae in some cases, but my kids get to encounter me as, you know, because it's like I'm teaching them how to write a song, I'm teaching them how to rap, and I'm also giving them life lessons. And I think people don't understand that, again, like you said, the marketplace is right there, and some people feel like I need to have this big platform to really make an impression and have my voice be heard and have my message go out, when it's like, you have a chance to be a messenger every day, you know? Speaking of messaging, I feel like your rap at the very beginning has now fueled all my questions. Subliminally, so God. Revolutionary music. Let's talk about that. So we were literally here in this same room, prepping, getting ready for this video.
Facts.
Yeah, and
Yes,
we shot it around here. I was actually writing my first big article for you while you were shooting the video. That's on.
Salute to you for
I'm
that.
on thatnextnext.tumblr.com. We'll check it. But you said something very interesting, that how maybe the song didn't have the effect that you were looking for, which is interesting because, like you, I write also very socially conscious music as well. And then before that, you had a song which I still think is among your best, called Living for Legacy.
Yeah.
And it all speaks to the whole idea of just your understanding of social consciousness.